thank you for joining me again on my latest video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel to get notified whenever I release a new video. So today I'll share with you one of my personal favorite destinations, Norway. I've probably been there about a dozen times, but I look forward to it every single time. It's always a different experience depending on what season you visit, winter, summer, spring, or fall. There isn't just one highlight when visiting Norway. The entire country is spectacular. Its landscapes and nature are second to none, from the northern lights in the winter to the midnight sun in the summer. From the big cities to the small fishing villages along the coast, the scenery, the people, it's all breathtaking. For many years, Norway has been rated one of the happiest countries in the world. And there's a reason for this, their philosophy of friluftsliv. It loosely translates to free air life, and it's used to describe a way of life that's spent exploring and appreciating nature. This is a Norwegian concept which has been proven to make a difference in mental health. It's about the connection between man, nature, and society. It goes beyond physical activity. Its concept is rooted in mindfulness and a sense of connection to your natural surroundings. Just thinking about my trips to Norway, experiencing the natural beauty of the country just makes me happy. Anyway, today in particular, I'm going to tell you about a journey along the Norwegian coast. And as the Lonely Planet calls it, the world's most beautiful voyage. So without any further ado, let's go to Norway. Norway is a coastal country with many of its towns and villages built along the coast. So the best way to experience Norway would have to be by ship. But I'm not talking about a conventional cruise. Think of it as a base camp at sea instead of a cruise. These ships are not simply cruise ships, they are working vessels that carry cargo, mail, local passengers, and they're really the lifeline that connects the country. It's so much more than just a ferry. I'll spend more time on the details of the ship in a separate video, but our journey will take us through some of the most breathtaking landscapes in the world. It is absolutely awe-inspiring to experience navigating through narrow fjords with cliffs hugging the sides of the ship. And it isn't called the world's most beautiful voyage for nothing. Beyond just the landscapes, the wildlife is spectacular in the fjords. The bird life in the fjords is simply phenomenal. We can take a sea eagle safari deep into the fjords to see these majestic animals. On board the ships, the expedition team will present lectures on subjects such as biology, history, and geology. They're handpicked for their local expertise and specific knowledge in relevant fields. They're not just reading pages from a guidebook, they're living it. You can sense that they're truly passionate about sharing their knowledge. But what about the food? I had a chance to grab a beer and chat with head chef Larsen. He worked at French Laundry in Napa Valley directly under Thomas Keller, a 3 Michelin star chef. Chef Eric created the concept of Norway's coastal kitchen, which means with all the stops, we get fresh ingredients from small independent farms along the coast. This is the food that has traveled the shortest distance, so it is very sustainable, supporting local farmers, and every item comes with a story. There's fresh fish that's caught in the morning, it's on your plate by that evening. Now, most international flights will fly into Oslo, so naturally this is a great starting point. Oslo is the capital of Norway, and although it's considered a major city, most of Oslo is forest. So that doesn't mean Norwegian love of nature doesn't apply here. The untouched forest surrounds the city and can be reached on public transport in under half an hour. Within the city itself, there are plenty of great sights to see, including the Royal Palace, National Theatre, Parliament House, as well as the famous Opera House. The Nobel Peace Prize is awarded in Oslo every year since 1903. The world's largest sculpture park is here with over 212 sculptures by Gustav Vigeland. There's a Viking ship museum that has an 1,000-year-old Viking ship that's still fully intact. Now, in the interest of keeping this video within a manageable length, we'll leave Oslo now and head all the way up to Kirkenes. We're now up in the high Arctic, only a few kilometers from the Russian border. Other than spending the night here in a snow hotel, a hotel that's completely made of, well, snow, we can go on a king crab safari where a fisherman will take us out to sea on a rib boat to catch king crabs. And of course, we get to eat them. From Kirkenes, I continue further north until we pretty much reach the top of the world at the North Cape, well, at least the top of Europe. Historically, many people believe that this was the end of the world because this is a magnificent place with vertical cliffs dropping about 1,000 feet straight into the sea. Another fantastic highlight of Norway are the Lofoten Islands. The Lofoten Islands, it's a fishing community known for its spectacular landscapes, some of the best in Norway. Most marketing and advertising photos representing Norway are often shot here in the islands. Just check on Instagram for photos of Norway. It'll likely be something from this region. There are a lot of great hiking opportunities here, from easy to challenging. It doesn't matter what your skill level, you will be rewarded with some of the most spectacular views in the country. And one thing you might want to know about the Lofoten Islands, or most of Norway in general, is the weather will be crazy. But if the weather looks bad, wait 10 minutes and it'll change. The Norwegians even have a saying that there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing. And speaking of spectacular views, just south of the Lofoten Islands is the Majestic Trollfjord. It is an amazing level of skill that the captain has to navigate the narrow passages in this area. The opening of the fjord is only 100 meters wide. I also recommend spending a few nights in the stunning city of Bergen. In 2009, I ended up spending more than a few nights here. If you remember when the volcano erupted in Iceland, well, I was here when that happened. I mean, there could be worse places to be stuck, but it was great to spend some time here and really explore the city. I really fell in love with the city and I look forward to going back every single time. There's a great fish market here right in the middle of the city, bustling with fishermen offloading their catch. There's food stalls serving the fresh catch of the day. Speaking of fresh, there's the Cornelius restaurant on its own private island. It's not a seasonal restaurant, but they call it a meteorological restaurant because the menu is prepared based on that day's catch, and that day's catch depends on that day's weather. And also right in the city is Mount Floyd, and I recommend taking the funicular to the top for some of the best views of the city. And if you want to stay active, you can also hike to the top. The city is actually surrounded by 7 mountains, and it's one of Norway's best cities for hiking. We can fly out from Bergen, but if you need to get back to Oslo, I recommend that you take the scenic route instead of flying. It will include a ferry ride along Norway's longest and deepest fjord, the Sognefjord, before continuing by rail on the Flam Railway, hailed as the most beautiful train ride in the world. Now that's just a quick summary of the highlights that I've experienced in Norway, but I can go on. I just want to leave you with a taste of Norway, but if anyone's interested in learning more or need help planning a trip, please reach out to me at alan.law@glpworldwide.com. And please feel free to share this video with anyone you think that might be interested. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel for more destination videos coming soon.